So where is AI creativity really headed? We've got professional creators which are trying all the latest AI tools, using them as a VFX tool. And then we've got the rising crop of casual creators who are playing around with AI tools, but it's not, something that they're doing all the time. So I want to run through a few of my thoughts from, the last year of organizing events, doing my own films, working with very serious filmmakers, as well as agencies and studios on how they're implementing AI in the practice of AI creation. Now, really, from the very beginning, I just kind of broke down like how I see these two buckets, right? There's the professional creators and the casual creators. And I really think that the bigger opportunity to me is the casual creators. But for now, the AI industry has been really focused, at least in image generation and video generation, on the professional creators. That is, people who are embracing AI, people who might be like editors or VFX people, or even like directors and producers who are experimenting with AI. A lot of them are playing around with AI at a very high level. They're especially playing with tools like Midjourney, Runway, Luma, Krea, Hailua, Sora even. There are all these tools that people are playing with. And a lot of these tools, especially Midjourney being a great example of that, are kind of showing a lot of complexity in the tool set. So for example, like let's take a look at Midjourney, right? Like if we take a look at how Midjourney works, I mean, it's really complex, right? You go into here and you want to prompt something. It's already not very usable for the average person, right? Like if I wanted to create like a rabbit talking, for example, I have to go through all these settings here, right? I'm playing around with like, is it landscape or portrait? I'm going through all this stylization. Who knows what stylization means, or all these different things. You have to read all these long guides, and then there's all these different modes, different versions, and personalization. All these little features that equate to essentially what Midjourney has become, which is easily the most powerful image generator in the space, but also requires a lot of expertise. The best people who are getting the best out of Midjourney have spent months, even over a year, playing around with it and getting a lot out of it, right? So like even I just put rabbit talking, that's not enough, right? I have to sit there, write in, say rabbit talking, cinematic with dramatic lighting, all this kind of language that I've learned over the last few years on how to use Midjourney, right? And so all of that is going into all this prompting. And I see a lot of these tools are experiencing this, right? If you look at even Runway, let's jump over to Runway. Runway is extremely complex to the average user. The average user is not just kind of jumping in, even though they might want to get that cool output that they get from Runway just by playing around. To get the most out of it, you're going to have to get familiar with, look at this, all these tools, over 34 plus 30, so 38 tools in total for across the entire Runway suite here. That's a lot of tools, right? That's a lot of tools that you have to get to know. How do you weave them together to create the videos that you want, etc.? It's a lot of freaking work. And so to me, I think this shows that there's this category of very serious creators who are focused on getting the best that they can out of these tools. They're working hard to do so. They're even interacting directly with, the startups and the AI tool creators to help them get the features that they want. But that's kind of pushing these creators in a certain direction, right? And these pushing those tools in a certain direction. And so as a result, we're seeing kind of this professional AI creator layer. And I think that's definitely a huge opportunity. It's going to get bigger. I think, major studios from, Sony, Fox, Warner Brothers, Disney, all these big, massive Fox, big studios are going to embrace AI. Obviously, Lionsgate, has a direct relationship with Runway. So we're already seeing these studios and definitely the agencies, which are hungry to use this stuff for AI commercials, et cetera, even though there are concerns for sure. It's going to be obvious that, big studios, small studios, agencies, individual creators, very serious professional creators are going to start using these tools and are already using these tools on a daily basis. Coca-Cola commercial, right? Toys R Us commercial, right? That it's going to keep growing. It's going to get bigger. And maybe even there's a lot of commercials out there that aren't even, saying that they're AI, but there's AI being used, at least in the pre-visual or development process or writing or brainstorming process. And then AI tools may or may not be used in the production and post-production process. That's happening, right? And that's going to get bigger. it's going to go global. We're going to see people in, let's say, Korea, India, Europe, you know, Japan, all the major hubs of creative are going to embrace AI tools in different layers of their process. That's happening already. It's happening now. But to me, I wonder if the casual creator is the bigger opportunity. Because when I look at ChatGPT, when I look at character.ai, when I look at even what Llama, the Llama 3 models and Llama 4 models that are about to come out from Meta, and even Apple Intelligence, as well as Apple's Playground, Image Playground, these are efforts to kind of normalize using image and video and creative AI, Gen AI, for the average user, for the casual user. So users that don't need image generation and video generation as a part of their creative process, as part of their job or their career, they might just use it casually, like to create stickers or GIFs or memes or what have you. And I think this is this massive opportunity that's kind of undiscovered. And I call it the grandma's cinematic universe, right? Because if we follow the delta of where this is going, where it's going to be easier for the average creator to create memes and images and videos and maybe even create films and scripts. Like I can go to ChatGPT right now and just type in, hey, write for me a script about a rabbit that goes on a big adventure into space and the universe, and write for me all the details of how that would do and what the correct acts and whatever. Even with a little bit of my imagination, I can let AI just spin out for me based on that, use that script, use that kind of treatment or whatever, then to input into an image generator, video generator, and create a whole universe around my rabbit. And the reason why I call it Grandma's Cinematic Universe, this kind of concept, is that, hey, anybody with even an inkling of an idea can start creating creative around that. Even if it's crap, even if it's very noisy, even if more and more people are going to be creating more and more crap, it might create this whole new universe of creative and content that we might not even know what to do with. Now, at the same time, I think that we're going to hit at this place where the demand for that type of content is going to go up, not down. A lot of people are saying that, AI art is going to create a scenario where people want human generated art more, like fully human, no AI touch this, like sculpture, or no AI touch this film or whatever. And there's going to be almost like an organic tag. I think that's true. I think definitely people are going to prize purely human created art film more. But at the same time, we are going to want more customized, more local, more content that is more for me. And whatever that means, however that's defined, maybe it's going to create its own type of bubble. But I think it'll create this world where, hey, I want to inhabit my grandma's universe that she created. I want to be able to inhabit what her creative universe is. And I want to be able to go to my nephew and interact with the universe that he wants to create, and be able to play with him and have my universe that I created, interoperate with his. And I think this is where things get really fun and really interesting and unpredictable. It's almost its own singularity. It's a creative singularity in a lot of ways, where at a certain point, everybody can create their own universes, and they can all be interoperable across mediums as well, not just in terms of the scope and scale of a universe, of a world that I can create that's fully mine. But I can also turn it into a film, and then take that film, turn it into a game, turn that game and turn it into merchandise, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It just gets mind-boggling, right? And so what does that world really look like? I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I don't know. Of course, I don't know if that world is going to arrive, but I genuinely don't know what kind of world comes out of that, where we have these professional creators, studios, agencies, individual creators who are creating better and more complex content. At the same time, you have this scenario where everybody else can also create their own content, and that interoperates with the big content, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Where does the Marvel Cinematic Universe come up against Grandma's Cinematic Universe? That's where things, I think, get really interesting. And so for us, at Machine Cinema and myself, like, I've been organizing a lot of events. I'm sure a lot of people around the world have been organizing events around AI. And what we do is we've been, organizing these small events where and large events where people can interact with AI directly and create something on the spot very rapidly. And what we're seeing is this kind of cross pollination, right? Where professional creators are interacting with new creators, and the new creators or the casual creators are getting to interact with AI for the first time, and they're seeing how, hey, this isn't so hard. I can actually do this short film in a short period of time. And I can get this other person, this professional creator, they can do a lot more probably with these tools. They probably are more familiar with these tools, but they also get to interact with me at a more kind of democratized level where we can kind of interact on an idea level and then ideate and brainstorm and create imagery and video based on that all at once. I can create, as a professional creator, a style that can be referred to by a beginning creator. This creates a really new dynamic, right? And I think that's where the seed of this really is happening, where the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the professional creators, they can create these massive, complex, heartfelt, emotionally deep and dense stories that are an invitation to the casual creator. And I think that's really, really, really fun. And so I don't know how this is going to change culture and society. I think the truth is that everybody is creative, right? And when you interact with children, you see it on a daily basis that children, if they're not, addicted to the internet yet, they spend 5 minutes bored and then suddenly they're coming up with new games. They're turning situations into whole entire worlds. And so what does that look like where we live in a world where anybody can be creative because there are the tools that allow us to do so, where we live in a world where now I go to work, I go to school, I interact with adults, and slowly that creativity that I was born with essentially is slowly bred away through time and adulthood and maturity and living in a world that is complex with taxes and economics and politics and all of that. And we have to be serious, right? Where AI is saying, hey, guess what? You can be a painter, even if you're bad at painting. You can be a filmmaker, even if you're bad at cinematography. This is, in some ways, removing the talent factor from the equation. I think that's really interesting. And that might deserve its own, video where we talk about, like, what does it mean where, a lot of the barrier to entry for a lot of artists is, look, the talent level, how much time I can learn and spend to, figure out how to do cubism or, modern art or whatever. If I'm removing that element and it's more on an ideal level, what does that mean for me? And what does that mean for everybody? I don't know. And I think it makes everybody an engine for creativity, an engine for content. And I'm really excited for that on an abstract, principled level. Like, I'm really excited for a world where everybody can be invited to be creative, because most people are not. Most people are pushed to be adults, whatever that may mean, or they're pushed to be a certain way by society. So I think for that reason, I really believe in the AI creator movement. I think today it's maybe in the tens, maybe hundreds of thousands of people who are using AI creator tools. I hope that it becomes billions. I hope that billions of people around the world can access their creativity and create content and worlds that are meaningful to them. And I hope that more people get to tell those stories. And what does that mean for culture and society in a world where more people are able to tell their stories? I mean, maybe we can look at social media. Maybe we can look at Snapchat and TikTok and all that. And how has that changed the world in its own way? Maybe it's shifted culture in a way that's unhealthy, for sure, because of the kind of algorithmic dopamine, short attention span economy that has happened to our brains. But maybe something else deeper happens. I think this is where sometimes I think, hey, what would Marshall McLuhan think about the internet? And then what would he think about AI? Also another topic for another video. Anyway, those are a few of my thoughts on where this AI creator movement is going. And it kind of outlines a little bit of, why I think it's meaningful. I think there's a lot more to come. I'm going to talk about a few things that I mentioned in here, then a little teasers here and there that are worth kind of digging into, but hope that's fun for you guys to think about. Let me know. And I'm going to keep making these videos out there for you guys, my thoughts on AI and interactions with AI, and maybe a little bit more deep dives into how these tools work, because I think that's definitely something that a lot of people care about.